Czechia not only has incredibly good beer, incredibly interesting culture and history, and incredibly good looking people, it also has the Autodrom Most, which could be an incredible track. Wanna find out? Take a look at this video right now. Greetings Petrolheads and welcome to RomRom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to a new chapter of It's a Mod world. Today we are racing in Most. Okay, I'll stop doing my movie trailer voice now. So yeah, we're racing in Most today because last week there was the Porsche Cup in Most. Yeah, there was also the ADAC Masters, but who cares, because I didn't want to drive one of the cars of the ADAC Masters, I wanted to drive a Porsche. I'm gonna talk about the Autodrom Most, which surprisingly is a track I've never raced in before, and it's a pity because it turns out that I quite like it, so let's go to it. The mod comes in two versions. The one is with chicane, which is what I'm gonna be driving, and the other is without chicane. If you look up front, if I would drive mostly straight, that would be the version without chicane, but I'm gonna take this chicane. And a little bit of jitter in VR, not something completely disturbing, but it's a little bit annoying. I love how the altitude differences, small and big, are shown here in the mod. It adds the immersion to the realism of the mod. Don't you think this track is too clean, too new, too shiny? Not that I'm gonna reduce the note because of that, but it's a little bit too shiny. I've seen videos and it doesn't look like that. The curbs in this mod are quite high, and I don't think that they are that high if I watch the video, so if anybody knows Most better, please let me know in the comments, because I think that the curbs here are exaggerated and they are too high compared to the real curbs. For many reasons, this is not an easy track, and at the beginning I feared it was gonna be like Misano, where I needed my sweet time to learn the track. It wasn't that way, but still, we'll take a look at the different issues that this track brings with it. One of the biggest issues in this mod, and I suppose in the track, that on the other hand makes it interesting to drive here, are the steady bumps that are in the track. I'm not sure if you would want to race this mod using a motion rig, because the car is quite unstable, shaking all the time because of the bumps. I think it's fantastic that the maker of this mod, whose name I'm not gonna even try to pronounce lest I make a fool of myself, has put these bumps, these imperfections in the track inside of the mod, because they make it realistic and they make it interesting. On the other hand, it's a pity that I don't feel the bumps in the force feedback, contrary to the curbs which I feel, so I suppose the bumps were programmed visually, but not with regards to the force feedback. I don't know enough about mod making to be able to answer that question by myself, so if you know about mod making and about mod making tracks, please leave me a note in the comments telling me if I got it right or if I got it wrong. Of course, these bumps make you drive differently, as you lose the grip every time that you encounter a bump, like in this example. As we've seen, some of these bumps are in the middle of a corner. It's easy to drive on the wrong place, so you have to memorize also where the bumps are, and that's a nice and interesting thing, adding to the difficulty of Most. And these curbs are made for punishment. Not that I have anything against punishing drivers who cut the track, but man, these curbs, high and difficult and ugh. You cannot drive this track aggressively. You'll only end up getting nervous, losing the flow, overdriving the car. It's a very technical track that has to be driven carefully, and aggressiveness is not something that earns you time in this track. Or no, small correction here. There's parts of this track where you can be aggressive, where you can go to the limit of throttle and brakes, but there are few and far from each other. I've chosen this view so that if you look at the car, you will be able to see where the bumps are and pay attention to them. We start at the start and end straight as always. Careful, because shortly after the line there's a bump. Then there's the chicane, right, left. Careful here, because as you can see, and often enough, you misjudge this chicane and end up in the gravel. A wide right, wide left, which you can take almost as a straight, and start braking on the apex of the next right, as you have a chicane that starts with a steep left, then a steep right, and the curbs here are deadly. Then another, let's call it chicane, right, left, then a 90 degrees right, and here you can go on the throttle, as the small right that follows is negligible, and you can take the longish left that follows, not at full throttle but quite fast. Careful here, doesn't look the part, but this right is difficult, and if you take it right, you get a good exit for the straight, an insignificant left, but careful with the next right. Not only does it get steeper, there's a bump smack in the middle that unsettles the car and can make you lose control completely. Left, small straight, right, careful with the bumps. Right, left. Another wide left, and careful with the wide right. Not only is it tricky by itself, but it's got a nasty bump and a high curb at the entrance to pits, and it also gets steeper, and you can find yourself turning too much to the right or not enough, and if you don't turn to the right enough, you could end up in the grass. Yep, we are back at the start and end straight. Whew. The Autodrom Most exists since 1983, and it's quite a short track. Trucks need 2 minutes 3 seconds for the whole round, while a touring car needs 1:26 for the whole round, of which I'm far, far away. Even motorcycles race in Most, which I don't understand fully if I take a look at the very high curbs. A nice thing that the Autodrom Most does is the Most Challenge. That's open for any amateur racer. He or she just has to appear with a normal street car, without any changes, with street tires, and see to it that he or she is faster than all the other amateurs trying to race, and set up, if possible, a record. So see if you can make the most of Most. Yeah, I could not resist making that bad pun. I was looking forward to race against the AI in this very special track, but as you can see, the AI for some reason goes steep to the right and bumps into the wall, and often enough bumps into me. And by the end of the race, while in reality I was, I think, 6th, the sim was showing me as 29th and I finished 28th, so there is some issue here which I don't understand. Maybe it made a lapped car out of mine. I don't understand it. If you want to race on Autodrom Most, you'll have to do it with friends who know about racing, who are comfortable with a technical track, but don't race against the AI because it does not work. I like this track. I like this Autodrom Most. It's a very technical track, And learning the track is easy, but learning to drive it well isn't. I like also the flow of it, bumps and all. I like how you can drive it quite well and get into the zone while driving it. It looks good, but it's not realistic. It looks too new, it looks too clean, and the curbs, at least if I compare to the videos that are available on YouTube, are too high. For the look, I give it 4 eyes out of 5. Racing against the AI is not really possible, as the AI line is strange. Not only at the beginning, the start and end straight, where the AI tends to go against the wall, but also during a race they like to ride the high curbs and therefore lose control, bump into you, bump into each other. That's not the way anybody would race. With regards to the AI racing, 0 cars out of 5. Sorry. The driving feeling, on the other hand, is almost perfect. I like the bumps, I like that you have to be careful with them, and as I said, I like the flow and I like how you're able to drive within this mod. The only problem that I have is that it does not feel grippy enough. It feels a little bit unrealistic. It's a very strange error to make, that I can feel the curbs, but I cannot feel the bumps on force feedback. The driving feeling, it's almost there, but not quite there. Therefore, I'm giving it 4 wheels out of 5. Don't let this mislead you. Most is a very interesting track, and if you forget that you cannot feel the bumps on force feedback, it's very good. I like to drive it, and you would have a lot of fun driving it with people who are able to drive technical tracks and who are able to play with the throttle, and of course also be careful with the bumps. Not for beginners, absolutely not. I think a beginner would land in the gravel soon enough. Most is not an easy track. Most is not a perfect mod, but likable enough, so I think you're gonna have fun with it. That would be all for today. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, applaud by giving it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and to click on the bell to become part of the family and to be informed about new videos. And until the next time, safe fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other at the podium. What do you say, podium in Czech?
Visit romrom.net to connect to fellow sim racers and sim racing fans.